Really quickly, bigger picture, Ryan Day's future. You mentioned it earlier. You talked about a guy in our profession named Ari Wasserman who covered Ohio State for a number of years, now works for The Athletic, basically said that his understanding of the athletic department, Ryan Day, worth noting, $37-ish million buyout. Basically, what Ari Wasserman said was he doesn't see Ohio State firing Ryan Day, and he doesn't see Ryan Day walking out, not just walking out and quitting, but looking for another job, be it in the NFL, another college head coaching job, whatever. So I guess two-part question is, do you believe it's possible he could be fired? And then to take it a step further, if Ohio State isn't going to fire him, do you believe there's a possibility that he could try to look for another job because the heat is obviously on for him with that program?
So Ari even admitted also, he's like, I've known this man for 10 years. I know him very well. And I do think that influences something. But I think it's more likely he leaves than he is fired. I do think that. I just think that, like, this blanket idea that there's no way they'd move on from him, that strikes me as a bridge too far. Now, if they go and win the championship, yes. If they make it to the final, yes. If they get beat in the first round, even on the road, and they shouldn't, but they certainly can. If you can lose, you shouldn't lose to Michigan, but you lost to Michigan in this case. But I do think that, and this whole, Ryan Day's a super competitive guy and all this kind of stuff, even though it doesn't tend to reflect against Michigan for whatever reason, I just I could see him having enough of this. He feels like, I'm sure, I've had a ton of success, and yet it's never enough. And if you're going to spend $20 million and you're going to bring in Chip Kelly, and this is what you get out of that, where do you go from here? I don't know that's the thing. Is like, is the juice worth the squeeze anymore when it comes to, do I want to go through this for another year, listening to them, having all the signs at the big house with the number of days it's been since Ohio State beat Michigan, when that was not a thing for years and years and years, pretty much until this last stretch, which happens to have been my entire tenure. And that, I could see that. I think it's more likely he leaves than he's let go, but I also think that it's certainly possible that they look elsewhere, especially if the right candidate comes calling or answers their phone call. And, Mike Vrabel is certainly a name you're going to hear.
Yeah, Mike Vrabel, a former Ohio State player and also former Ohio State assistant under Urban Meyer. With the Ryan Day future stuff, so I'm sort of in agreement with you. Is first of all, there's the Ryan Day quality of life element to this.
Yes.
And listen, it's not just Ryan Day. He's got kids. He's got a wife. Listen, you don't know what's true and what's not. I saw something online. I don't know if it's true that his address got posted. I mean,
that's horrible if that's true. That's utterly ridiculous and completely unacceptable.
Of course, and we all agree on that, but it doesn't change the fact that this is the job that you did sign up for, but it also comes with a lot of benefits, but a lot of drawbacks as well. There are very few jobs where it's like you're expected to win every game, you have to win every game. And to your point, J. Mart, here's the other crazy part to think about. Like, let's say, first of all, let's say he comes back, but let's say you get to the college football playoff, you win a game, and then you lose on a neutral site. You're the 7 seed, you lose to Texas in the second round, okay? So now, first of all, next year, so you lose on New Year's Day to Texas, and now your entire season becomes defined by, can you beat Michigan in 11 months from now? And maybe you're 11-0, maybe you're 10-1 like you are this year. It really doesn't matter, though. By the way, here's my question. Even if you beat Michigan, is there are fans all of a sudden like, wow, the last 4 years mean nothing. We were wrong about this guy. He actually, so it's like, I think even if you do the thing that you haven't been able to do, I don't know that it really appeases anything for anybody. Now, listen, if you do the thing that you haven't done, which is win a national championship this year, and we went through the playoff scenarios in hour 2 if you missed it, Ohio State is still going to be in, even though they will not play in the Big Ten championship game, and even though they did not beat Michigan, they're still going to be in a 12-team playoff. But I just bring it up because I just think short of a national championship, or as you said, maybe even a title game appearance where you upset either Oregon or Texas or somebody along the way. I think you're coming back and nobody has confidence that you can do the thing that's necessary. And so, like, does he actually get fired? I don't know, but we see this all the time. I mentioned earlier, we saw it with John Calipari in basketball, where it was just like, your fans don't believe in you. There's nothing you can do for another year, in John Calipari's case, until next year's NCAA tournament. And by the way, even if Calipari had come back this year and made like a Sweet 16, nobody would be like, oh, Cal's got it back. He's got it all fixed. It'd be like, no. This used to be the baseline lowest expectation, and it's kind of the same with Michigan. Again, so I'm kind of rambling, but the point I'm trying to make is I agree with you. Listen, what he does in his own personal life is completely up to him. If I was him, I would be looking for something else. And I don't know what his end game is, what his ambitions are. Obviously, I think in a perfect world, he would have hoped to beat Michigan a bunch and be the head coach at Ohio State for the next 20 years. That doesn't look like it's on the table. And to me, I just think from a quality of life perspective, I think it's something he's at least got to consider, because I just don't know what the upside to coming back is when you could be 11-0 through the end of November, through Thanksgiving of 2025, and it's going to mean absolutely nothing until you play your rival again a year from now.
That's right. And then you will have beaten them once. Mm-hmm. I think that's the thing, is you can't just beat them once. You have to get on a streak of beating them again, because that's the expectation of Ohio State. It can't be tit for tat, especially when they've beaten you 4 times in a row. You talk about the benefits that come with the job. There's a lot of benefits. And you mentioned the costs. Yes. Like, there's a lot of pressure and there's a lot of stuff that comes with that job that also comes with a giant salary. The reason you have the job is because of that salary, but the reason you're paid that much is because of the expectations. And not only that, not only do you have that salary, you also have a ton of resources. You spent $20 million on the roster. You spent, millions of dollars on the coaching staff, and you still lost to that football team that you, for a year, basically set yourself up to make sure you did not lose to, and you lost to them again. Ohio State had beaten 47 straight unranked opponents, and the one that beat them was Michigan. And it was the same Michigan team that they watched win a national championship last year, which had to make them sick at Ohio State, and certainly the fan base and all of that. The problem for Ryan Day is you are measured at Ohio State by whether or not you beat Michigan and win championships, and he has done neither.